Do you guys want to see what actually happened in 2025 with real estate stats as opposed to all the media rhetoric that's out there that's just heightening emotions and everything else that goes through that process that seems to be what their key focus is instead of providing real facts? This is going to be it today. We're going to talk about Teller County and El Paso County, specifically within the Pikes Peak region over the past 10 years and what that looks like. As we go through this, I'm going to highlight different statistics that really show what's been happening over the last 10 years, as well as what we expect to see happen in 2026. You'll see we're not in something that's crashing right now either. And it doesn't show that. And the statistics do not support that. You're going to see hard data from the MLS. Before we get started, I just want to say if you have any kind of questions whatsoever about the Pikes Peak region or what we do here or what to do here, please don't hesitate to reach out to my team and I. We're the James Mountain Homes team. You can call us or text us at 719-266-2725. You can also email us at info@jdmrt.net. And we would love to be able to help answer any questions you might have. We also have two free resources for you that you can click below. The Pikes Peak Relocation Guide that has a ton of information about moving to the area, to include many frequently asked questions and videos that explain some dynamics that might be new to you. We also have the Buy Local Guide with all of our recommended vendors in the area. Don't forget to also check out our website at www.jdmountainhome.com, where both of these free resources are, as well as a ton of information about our area and a place that you can start a search for homes here. Lastly, make sure you hit that subscription button and that notification bell so you get notified every time we post a new video. Okay, so today, guys, I'm just going to show you some basic statistics, and you're going to get a chance to actually see where we can pull these on the MLS as well. So this is really cool. Hope you enjoy this. You're going to see a lot of different graphs and bars that kind of come off of this to kind of highlight exactly what we're looking at. First, we're going to start off the number of sales in El Paso County that's in accordance to each year. I'll take a look at this chart. This is incredible to me. And you see in El Paso County, yes, sales have been down. They've been down for 3 years. It has stayed the same. It's been pretty much flat for the last 3 years. You can actually see right here, COVID, when they bumped up and then they started to come down a little bit. But even during COVID, I mean, they definitely had a spike. However, you could also see they didn't really spike a huge amount over what we typically saw. And then we've got this lowering right here. And a lot of this is coming because of affordability. At the end of 2022 into 2023, we saw interest rates start coming up. We saw people start to lose a little bit of consumer confidence and people backed off. So we just didn't see as many of these sales kind of start taking place. And we look at 2025, we still sold in El Paso County 11,000 homes. Now, as we come over to the sale price average, let's take a look at this. This is really interesting to me too. So you can see over the past 10 years how we've gradually had appreciation in values. And then we hit COVID and we hit this big housing boom and they jumped pretty fast. And then they just stayed steady and they've gone up a slight difference over the last 4 years. Not significant, but it has stayed extremely steady. And this goes to show exactly what we've been saying from the very beginning. We haven't seen these massive price drops where everything has just crashed or we see a crash coming. We see it plateau. Once again, we have folks that are out there that don't have to sell. And the reason they don't have to sell is because they got incredibly good interest rates and they've got a ton of equity in the house. So they're not willing to come down to where you actually see these massive depreciations. Now, I do want to caveat it with this. When you look at these, and you've got an average sale price of $537,385 in 2025 compared to $531,241 in 2024. Technically, this is not really an appreciation. It's really a depreciation because we've seen inflation that has actually been higher than the amount of the home actually moving up in price point. So homes are becoming more affordable just based off inflation and what has happened across the board in the United States. So this is important to know and understand too, because what we've been talking about is we watch this market and we watch what's happening is there's really three things that are going to make homes more affordable, where we'll start seeing a lot more movement, more homes being sold to see that bump up from the first graph we just saw too. It's more affordable interest rates, which we're probably, unless something drastic happens through the Fed or anything else, we're probably really close to what that's going to stick and stay at through 2026. We might see it in the low sixes, maybe upper fives every now and then, unless something else happens. And there's always a chance that an outside, source is going to cause that to change. But that's if it's continuing to stay what we've seen on there, that's, or what we've seen with what the Fed's doing and everything else with trying to combat inflation, that's what we're kind of expecting. The second thing that can actually make more homes more affordable is the fact that wage growth wage growth in general is able to go up. So that would essentially mean that the workforce gets paid more, and that allows them to be able to afford more of a home. And that's pretty normal. And we need that to happen in conjunction with a slight reduction in interest rates. Thirdly is going to be inflation and what we watch with that as well. Now, we've already seen as flat as this sits right here, we're looking at this, inflation has continued to go up, even though it's really under control right now, it's still continuing to go up. So this is automatically making this more affordable as well. So those are things that we're definitely looking at. Okay, so let's take a look at some more statistics as we come in here. Let's look at the months of inventory. This is always an interesting one. Now, this is going to bring it down per month, so it's going to be a little bit more of a drastic line charts here. So you can see as we look back at this, and this is 10 years of data that's sitting here, you can see how the winter months always has the spikes that we see in here. The summer months always drops. So this is months of inventory. This is how many months of inventory. And we look at this to really kind of look at seeing whether it's a seller's, a buyer's market, or more balanced market. Traditionally, the easy thing to look at is, always things below 3 months of inventory has traditionally been a seller's market. And even between 3 to 6 has been considered a balanced market. However, it can lean more one way or the other. We see how, even though this is spiked up right here, we're still not into a full-blown buyer's market. We're still in a balanced market that leans more towards buyers. What does that mean? That means specifically when buyers are out there looking, they've got more options that are out there. They do have more control in the negotiations, but they don't run the negotiations in the sense of just running over the seller. They are going to have a lot of things that they can't ask for that are pretty standard, and a good agent will be able to walk you through that. Now, you can see we had our spike here for 2025 coming into 2026. And you can barely see it's already starting to come back down here for the summertime as well. So we expect to see that come back down, but we're still really in that really kind of balanced market. Now you're seeing how this has gradually just kind of built up and gone down, built up and gone down, built up and gone down for the past 4 years as well. All right, let's go into, this is a good one that I like to look at. Expired listings of the primary year. Now, expired listings, so these are listings that have just failed and they pulled off the market. They're actually less than they were 10 years ago. They're less than they were 4 years ago, which is fascinating to see. Now, this is kind of expected with what we saw with the market being as extremely good as it was as far as, expired listings, as they kind of pop out and kind of do their things. And then, if they weren't getting what they wanted, they pulled back off. But this is interesting to me as we look at this. There's actually less expired listings in a harder market right now in the flatter market that we've seen. So it's just fascinating to look at that. We would, in a market that would, be one that would basically be imploding, you would expect to see this number to really spike higher than it was in a balanced, healthy market, or even definitely higher than what it would have been in a market that was booming right there as well. So let's also take a look at the average listings number of, let's do this. I guess I got to do this by month. We'll wait for this to pull up here. So this is also another one that's interesting to look at. So we can kind of see the seasonal cyclic, the cyclic ability of what happens seasonally with listings that go active. We always see them spike in the summer times. We see them dip off in the winter time. So you're not competing with as many properties in the wintertime as you are in the summertime if you're looking to sell your home. But you can see how that plays out right here as well. And you can see very healthy market, and you can see the number of listings actually started going down into 2022. Then they spiked up right here, came back up of active listings number of. So these are listings that are actually on the market itself per month on there. And then they just kind of gradually started coming back up. So this does correlate with the months of inventory that we see as well. And you can see it's kind of an inverse graph to the seasonality of this also. But you can see how this is starting to decline already coming into 2026. All right, so I think those are the primary ones I wanted to show you. So let's hit up Teller County now. Let's go back and we'll start down here, number of sales again. In Teller County, let's look at the year because it's a little bit easier to look at. So we've seen just the number of sales really dipped and they came down in 2023. They came up slightly in 2024. When I say slightly, I mean literally it's 12 listings more on here. And then you get into 2085 or 2025, and you're about 50-ish more listings in 2025. So we're seeing this gradual uptick in Teller County. So that's a good thing to see. This is a very healthy market with how many sales happen. We're getting close to that. You can see what happened, a little bit of a spike during the housing market boom that we had in 2020 and 2021, and then started coming down in 2022. So those are good things to see. Let's take a look at the average sale price. Once again, very similar to what we saw in El Paso. However, in Teller County, you can see this big bump in 2021, and then it kind of flattened out in 2023, and it's just been flat, really, since 2023. So it's always interesting to me when I get buyers and they're like, hey, we've noticed the market's completely changed and it looks like more like a buyer's market. Well, the market's really been the same for the last 3 years now. It really has not changed a whole lot. It's just people are starting to really understand it and recognize it. We've been watching this for the last 3 years. The issue is the news media who likes to put all their stuff in this and make it look just this fantastic type of element that's kind of popping out of it. So it's been very flat. It really, really has. And this is the same as El Paso County. You're looking at an average sale price of $552,101 in 2025 compared to $541,000. Same thing, even though it's flat, there's a little bit of an appreciation that shows right there. It's really staying just below what inflation is. So technically, the value of the homes have actually gone down over the last couple of years because of inflation and the cost of money. What that goes into that. Let's take a look at months of inventory on this one as well. This one's by month again. Very similar graph of what we saw in El Paso County, just slightly different, just based off seasonality. But you see, this was a very healthy market right here, and we're seeing it kind of spike up. This has been a buyer's market up here, right into that buyer's market realm for the past couple of years, really, like the last year and a half or so. We've seen these little drop downs first come, but you can see how most of it has stayed above 6 months. That's because Teller County is at more of a secondary market. It's going to have more vacation homes, retirement type places, not really necessarily places people need to move for a job. So it's definitely something that we watch and we keep an eye on. So buyers definitely have a lot more leverage up here in Teller County than sellers do right now. And you can see this through the months of inventory. All right, let's check out the expired listings here. Once again, it's interesting to see this. We do see some small dips, but expired listings, they did reach over 1,000 in 2025, which has come up over the last few years. So that is something to see too. And that's in correlation with the fact that it's now a buyer's market here, and it has been for that amount of time. So we'll see those start to come back down as it starts to go away from being a buyer's market. However, it's still not much higher than what you would have seen even in 2016, which was considered a very healthy market. So those are important things to look at and to understand. It's literally 11 more homes that expired in 2025 compared to 2016. So nothing drastic, nothing alarming that's going through that as well. And then we come up to the active listings number look at it by month again. You see, once again, it's the inverse cyclic graph of what you saw for the months of inventory, where it basically spikes in the summer times and then comes back down in the winter times here. So the winter's the valleys, the summers are the mountaintops on that. And we're coming down into our valley right now as we come through a winter point, and then we'll see that spike back up again as people try to sell in the summertime. But these are really good things to kind of look at. And once again, this correlates to those months of inventory. But this just gives you an easy snapshot of what we're looking at and what we're seeing across the board and what those expectations are as well, as we look at the Teller County markets and the El Paso County markets and what we're expecting to see based off of previous. And what's really interesting to me is that usually real estate is cited as being on these 10-year cycles, plus or minus a couple years. You can literally see that as it plays out. I wish I had more than 10 years I could show you right now, but the MLS unfortunately allows me to do 10 years on there for those statistics. But it's really cool to be able to see that and be able to understand that and see what's happening throughout these as well. Before we go, I just want to say that if you have any questions about buying or selling or really anything about the Pikes Peak region, please don't hesitate to reach out to my team and I. You can call us or text us at 719-266-2725, or you can email us at info@jdmarriott.net. And don't forget, we also have 2 free resources for you that you can click below. the Pikes Peak Relocation Guide, and the Buy Local Guide. Plus, don't forget to also check out our website at www.jdmountainhome.com, where both of these free resources are, as well as a ton of information about our area and a place that you can start a search for homes here. Lastly, make sure you hit that subscription button and a notification bell so you get notified every time we post a new video. See you guys next time.